Megyn Kelly made the biggest mistake of her life when she jumped to NBC. She tried to cash in on her feud with Donald Trump and become a network news star. Now she is in danger of flushing her career down the drain because of these two words. Kelly is desperate to boost ratings for her morning show. Her primetime interview program was a disaster that is on the way to cancellation. So Kelly needs a hit. In order to generate viewership, Kelly has made her show a platform for the #MeToo movement. Kelly even had 3 of Donald Trump's accusers on her show in a bid to reignite the buzz she garnered from feuding with a then-candidate Trump, but her past is coming back to bite her. A new report alleges Kelly was abusive towards her staff while at Fox News that included berating a makeup artist with profane language. Breitbart reports. Megyn Kelly reportedly verbally abused a Fox News makeup artist by calling her a "f***ing bitch," which forced Fox News to give the staffer, the late Alexis McKinney, a $25,000 payout. Kelly is trying to present herself as a champion of women's rights, but a Daily Mail report also notes that Kelly was insensitive to another makeup artist. WHO had a miscarriage and once deliberately kept a female guest clueless about her show's topics while flirting with the men also appearing on air because she did not want another female potentially upstaging her. According to the report, when Kelly co-anchored Fox's America's Newsroom, she was upset one morning because she didn't have an appointment to get her makeup done. By the time she got to the third makeup artist, Alexis, she was upset. Alexis was working on Fox and Friends guests and they all had to be finished before 9 a.m. so it was impossible for her to take Megyn, the insider told Daily Mail. When Alexis told her she didn't have time to do her makeup, Megyn turned around and called her a "f***ing bitch." Another source told Daily Mail that McKinney, WHO passed away in a car accident in 2014, was deeply upset after Kelly's verbal abuse, which was the last straw. Another staffer told the outlet, "Megyn has a problem with people WHO stand up to her and she doesn't like strong women." Alexis was a strong woman and stood her ground and paid the price. Breitbart also reports that a female guest on her Fox News show alleges that Kelly tried to make her look bad because Kelly didn't want another woman to outshine her. A female guest on Kelly's Kelly File told the outlet that she thinks Kelly deliberately tried to make her look bad because she did not want another female performing as well as her. Kelly's producer reportedly told the guest that Kelly would have a chat before we started filming, but that chat never materialized even though Kelly flirtatiously talking the other, male, guests through their questions and giving a rundown of the show. "I distinctly remember thinking at the time, I know what happened. I believe she set me up to be not as prepared because she didn't want the chance of a younger female performing as well as her," the guest told Daily Mail. "She wanted me to be on the back foot and she succeeded. It felt very deliberate as opposed to an oversight. She is not a woman's woman." Kelly's outburst and rude treatment of other women could be the final straw. Viewers could see Kelly's embrace of female victims as hypocritical and self-serving. If that happens, ratings would decline and NBC would be forced to make a very hard decision about Kelly's future.